China. 1960s, Beijing. You're wandering around the city until you walk past the Beijing Botanical Garden. You notice a man tending the garden and you don't really think much of it. You went up and strike a conversation with him. And then someone else came up to you and said, "Comrade, that's the former emperor, by the way. For real, for real." Huh?
It's our son! Our son! He's so cute!
By the late 1800s, China, under the Manchu-led Qing dynasty, wasn't exactly doing great. And just in time for Puyi to be born. He is the son of Prince Chun, Zaifang, and the nephew of the Guangzhou Emperor. Even though the Guangzhou Emperor is, well, the emperor, the actual power is held by the Empress Dowager Cixi, who has the habit of power tripping. And Cixi and the Guangzhou Emperor didn't really get along much. In 1908, the Guangzhou Emperor suspiciously died, and Cixi, on the verge of death as well, wants to appoint someone who would not oppose her legacy, like the previous guy. Maybe this 2-year-old would fit the criteria. Couple days later, Cixi died as well. And so it was. Puyi was taken away from his mother and brought to the Forbidden City to prepare for the coronation. During the coronation, surrounded by chaos and noise, little Puyi cried. This moment was pretty much a precedent on what is to come to Puyi's life.
I'm a god. I'm a god.
As emperor, obviously he's not the one governing. He just listens to the officials yap and make him sign papers. All the boring government stuff was done on behalf of him by his father and regent, and as well the Empress Dowager, Long Yu. So what did the boy do for fun? Well, he realized that everything he wants or asks, the servants and the eunuchs must obey. And I mean must obey. Little Puyi was pretty much a little sadistic He made the eunuchs eat dirt for fun and flogged them for the slightest of mistakes. The only person who showed him true affection was his wet nurse, Wang Lianshu. But she was expelled from the palace by Puyi's mothers because he was too old to be nursed. So how about Puyi's actual mother? Well, he was not allowed to meet her until he was about 13. So yeah, he really hates his mothers with an S.
It is even funnier the second time.
Now outside the palace, another revolution was brewing in the mix. The Xinhai Revolution, led by your boy Sun Yat-sen. After his string of failed attempts, this one was actually successful. This time, he got the support of the army led by Yuan Shikai, who wants the army to become more modern. They overthrew Emperor Puyi and established a republic. And so, Puyi's 3 years tenure as China's emperor, and as well as China's 2,000-year-long dynastic system, went kaput. Sort of. Welcome to the Republic of China, led by President Yuan Shikai. Under a deal, Puyi was allowed to stay on the Forbidden City, keep his money, and keep doing their royal stuff, just without political power. Yuan Shikai was actually not that hyped about this whole revolution thing. He thought, maybe let's do a Han-led China's empire this time. And so it was. He declared himself as emperor. Everyone didn't like that, and Yuan Shikai was forced to abdicate after 3 months as emperor. Because of this, China fell apart and broke into pieces again. And so the warlord era began. This warlord, Jiang Shun, was actually a big fan of the Qing dynasty, and so he reinstalled Puyi back to the throne. Puyi at age 11 is now emperor once more for 12 days. As he was once again overthrown by Republican forces.
Hello, you want the Chinese food? Oh, we got our food here. It's cold outside. Oh, you fat fuck.
Well, Puyi is back to being a nobody again, living inside the palace with all the wealth and servants at his disposal. But then, a friendly Scottish man had arrived in the Forbidden City, Sir Reginald Johnston. He was hired by the Bayang government to teach the young former emperor English.
Can you speak English?
As time went on, Reginald had grown quite fond to Puyi and introduced him to Western culture. He began having a English name, wore Western clothing, and God forbid, glasses, cut his queue hair, and spoke in Chinglish at times. He even called random people with his newly acquired telephone.
Hello, this is Beijing Wonton House. How can I help you?
Hello, I'll have 2 number 9, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large green tea. Deliver it to this address, Forbidden City, Beijing. Thank you. By the way, this is the Emperor calling, so make it quick, please. Thank you.
What?
Now, Puyi really wanted to study at Oxford, just like Reginald. However, the palace and even Reginald himself refused. To make sure Puyi will never leave the Forbidden City, during this time, 16-year-old Puyi was given a selection of photos of women for him to choose his wife. The photos were quite small and a bit blurry. He chose this girl, but turns out she was actually 12. So yeah. Instead, they chose this one wrong, to be his wife. And so it was, they got married.
This is my wife. This is my other wife.
But Puyi seems to be not that interested in their marriage and just women in general. He failed to consummate on the night of their marriage, after all. Now, judging from the accounts from different people in the palace, some historians had even suggested that Puyi might be gay.
Yo!
Another day, another warlord. A new warlord came crashing to Beijing. This time, they want Puyi and all of the royal people either out of town or out of life. So, Sir Reginald went about asking
the British government
to grant Puyi asylum.
The British government.
Rejected, but
Another government.
accepted it. Japan. Puyi helped Japan during the Great Kanto earthquake before, and I guess this is Japan's way of showing gratitude to Puyi in quotation marks. Japan has a concession area on the city of Tianjin, a perfect area for Puyi to take asylum on. And so it was, wearing a disguise, on board of a train at Beijing, he traveled to Tianjin. In Tianjin, Puyi spent their money on bougie stuff and used his social connections to get into the city's whites-only club. Meanwhile, wrongggg became addicted to opium. As you might imagine, these two became really unhappy with each other's company.
Every day I wake up.
Meanwhile, Wenshu, the 12-year-old before,
Wenshu, you want some gum?
I want a divorce.
divorced Puyi's sadistic act. Puyi asked Japan to help him out to get back to his throne. Japan was like, huh? But, China is like, not fully conquered yet, but tell you what, we're making this new country called Manchukuo. You're Manchu, right? Wanna rule it? It's your people. It's gonna be so much fun. And Puyi was like, hell yes! Puyi is now Puyi of Manchukuo. However, much like to his previous rule, real power he has stopped. If you know anything about Japan during World War II, you would know that this wasn't exactly fun. And so, Puyi just let Japan ravage Manchuria, making him complicit to the war crimes and become a collaborator. World War II. Japan invaded the rest of China, but it seems victory was not on the horizon. By the end of the war, the Soviet Union had captured Manchuria and came along Puyi with them. Meanwhile, wrongggg was captured by Chinese partisans. Puyi was tried as a war criminal and collaborator. One wrong, however, did not fare as well as Puyi as she died on the Chinese camp. Meanwhile, Mao Zedong came on top of the Chinese Civil War, establishing the People's Republic of China. Puyi was extradited back to China. Now, you would think that China would punish or even execute Puyi for his crimes? Well, no, actually. Well, I guess in an act to show China and communism is the best thing ever and more morally correct than the Soviets, not only did they let Puyi live, he was also sent to a re-education camp and was transformed to become a communist. He was now truly a private citizen. And that the story goes for that man working on that garden. Afterwards, he even became a literary researcher. Now, he needs tickets just to enter the Forbidden City, his former childhood home. Puyi would later pass away on the 17th of October 1967 from kidney cancer and heart disease. He was 61. But going back before he died, living as a private citizen and doing ordinary jobs, instead of being bitter about losing power, it seems that Puyi was actually happier than ever before. Living in a royal palace for all your life feels more like being entrapped in a cage rather than living luxuriously. And now, he experienced a life of a commoner and feels much freer than ever before. From crying on his first coronation to smiling while tending the gardens. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching.